Hey YouTubers, and thanks for checking back. Today I'm going to do an experiment to see just how much energy I can pass through this small piece of wire. Now I don't have the equipment to test that out, but a friend of mine does. His name is David Reben, and he lives not far from where I live. So I was going to watch firsthand what happens when you pass a huge amount of energy through a thin piece of wire like this. Now, if you think of energy, say a joule of energy, that's a standard unit of energy. 1 joule of energy can lift a 1 kilogram weight about 100 centimeters off the ground, which is about 0.1 meters. So what if I had a giant capacitor, and my friend David Reben does, that can store hundreds of thousands of joules of energy, and you take some of that energy and pass it through this wire? What do you think might happen? Well, that's what I got to explore, and I want to show you exactly what happened. But before I do, let me tell you a little bit about this giant capacitor. It is huge. It weighs about 400 pounds and needs a forklift to lift it. It has got a total capacitance for the electronics buffs among us of 300 microfarads, and it can be charged to a maximum of 30,000 volts. Now, if you charge that same capacitor to say 16,000 volts, that'll give you about half of its maximal energy storage. And that's the amount that we're going to pass through this wire. And that amount of energy translates to 38,400 joules, which is enough energy to lift a 1 kilogram weight to a height of 12,650 feet, which is basically to the top of a good-sized mountain. We're going to take all that energy and pass it through this piece of wire in a fraction of a microsecond. So I'm going to now go to the place where we did this, which is in a garage, believe it or not, and it was so loud that even with hearing protection, my ears were still ringing. Now here's the guy that made it possible, and he's standing next to a special power control box. Now this is the giant capacitor that I mentioned. This thing is huge, and the amount of energy is even more huge. Now David doesn't exactly mess around when it comes to high voltage. Here's his giant Tesla coil, which is affectionately known as the Green Monster, and a famous coil at that. Okay, capacitor charged up and ready to go. Yeah, it went up to 60
capacitor takes a charge, it no longer draws current.
Here goes. It's way louder than what you actually hear on this video. That was incredible, and my ears are kind of ringing even with the hearing protection. Interestingly, the garage door windows survived the blast. It ended up being a really fun day, and we ended with Green Monster striking out 12-foot arcs at the driveway. The local neighbors were having some fun with this, and some of them even had their cameras out. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.